Yeah, kid! Welcome everybody back to another episode of the Handsome Homebuyer Podcast. I'm Charles, aka the Handsome Homebuyer, twin brother of Captain Permit. Speaking of permits, I heard something the last couple of days that's a little bit disturbing. All investors out there, even realtors, certain townships, and we're not going to name any names, any townships, they're actually, I have on good knowledge that people are looking through the MLS listings and any houses that have been renovated without permits. Don't be surprised if you end up getting a letter or a stop work order saying that you have to maintain those permits. What does that mean? That means you need the captain. Call us, 516-513-8838. If you're buying a house, selling a house, if you're an attorney, a realtor, if you're a mortgage broker, anybody, you need us. On the flip side, if you have a house that smells like cat pee, is dated from the 1960s, has 6 inches of mold on the wall, human waste floating past the basement steps, I'm your guy. I want to buy it. 516-777-SOLD. All right. Today's guest, super excited about. He's an absolute savage in Suffolk County. Actually, both counties. The sales giant, Bryan Karp from Remax, right? Fellow South Shore, Nassau County, born and bred. Sold 141 houses in 2017, which blows my mind. We're about to find out exactly how he did it. Welcome, my man.
Good morning, handsome.
Good to see you.
You too, brother. Thank you so much for having me. I'm elated to be here.
Thanks for coming down. Thanks for coming down. All right, where do I want to start with this? I guess I kind of want to start from the beginning. Okay. I'm always curious to know, and I think the people out there also are, is like where the progression of, you know, what you went through and kind of like how you got to real estate. First and foremost, I heard this is awesome. He's going to tell you about Rich Dad Poor Dad. Anybody who knows me knows that Rich Dad Poor Dad changed my life. As we're talking off air, he's like, "Oh yeah, Rich Dad Poor Dad changed my life." I'm like, "Are you messing with me right now? Have you heard my story?" And it's interesting to see how I think a lot of successful people will identify. Everybody we're all kind of the same in a certain way, in a lot of ways. So again, I want to know how you found real estate and how you came up.
Sure, I'll give you the origin story, almost like the first comic book, right? Is that what you want, the first comic book? So first comic book is, I grew up very close to you, which we're just finding out now. I grew up in Belmore, Nassau County, was never the school person. So wasn't a bad kid in school, but literally I just had no attention span, no interest in school. I only was blessed enough to go to college because I was gifted in athletics. So I got a full scholarship to play football at Stony Brook University, which was huge. So I had this opportunity. My father, who was a union electrician, was like, you should probably get a trade so you can go out there and feed your family. So half of my high school career, I went to a BOCES.
And why was that? Why were you set up that way from early
From
on? Get-go,
because my lot in life was not to be sitting right here. Like I was going to be in a great job, great benefits, was probably to be a union construction worker. Yeah. My father was. So half the day of high school, I went to a BOCES and I learned a trade. Okay. I learned electrical. And then Stony Brook came to me and I was all Long Island football player, all Long Island lacrosse, basketball. So I was an incredible athlete.
Oh, shit.
And they offered me a scholarship to play football at Stony Brook. So my father and mother was like, listen, you can't turn this down. You can't let this go. So I ended up going to Stony Brook University. And I played football there. I graduated as a 2-time All-American. I graduated 2005, top of the real estate market. Yeah. I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do in my life. And a buddy of mine gave me this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Bam!
That's it. Robert Kiyosaki. I probably sold hundreds of thousands of books for him. I should have an Amazon account and that I could link people to. But literally, I read the book and it changed my life. It was the first book that I ever read cover to cover.
Okay.
And after reading the book, I ran out and I bought a 2-family house.
Wow.
I bought a 2-family house back in the day when it was the liar loans. So I was a bartender. And
anybody with a pulse or even.
I was a bartender. I owned a piece of a bar. And I said, hey, I made $200,000 a year. And they gave me this great loan. And at that time, my wife today was my girlfriend. So she was living upstairs, giving me $500 a month. Okay. I rented out the entire downstairs for $2,000. And literally my mortgage payment, wait for it, was $2,100 a month.
Yeah.
So I'm living there making $400 a month, and I had that aha moment. And I said, this is it. This is what I'm going to do with my life. I'm going to start buying rental houses.
Yeah, no, that's all. It's interesting. Offline, we were having the conversation. Like, people always come up to me, and they're like, oh, I want to flip houses. I want to do what you do. I want to make all this money. I'm like, listen, I flip houses to buy rentals. So the vehicle to get the money or raise the money to get the passive income doesn't really matter. You could sell widgets, whatever it is, chapstick, doesn't matter. Something on Amazon. You just need to get the money to get the passive income to replace your income to set up your security.
Well, because I think what I found after speaking to you a few minutes offline is we both had the same why. We both had the same goal. It's that generational wealth.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do. But just so you know my mindset, I was the kid where my friends would go to in high school and middle school, they would go to play racquetball, and I was knocking on neighbors' doors convincing them to let me rake leaves.
Yeah.
Like I was always that hustler.
You were a hustler from day one.
And then once I started getting a bunch of people in the same block, I would hire my friends to do the jobs for $25 and charge $50.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
I'll tell you a story. When I was probably in like 7th or 8th grade, I got a job working at a deli.
Okay.
It was called Causeway Deli.
Wait, in Wantor?
In Wantor.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I lived down the block from that,
absolutely.
basically.
Oh, my God. Unbelievable.
How old were you when you started working?
I was, even before there was working papers, anything, 6th, 7th grade, I was working.
Why do you think that is? Just curious. Was that something that was kind of instilled in you growing up? Your father was a hard worker.
He was a hard worker. He was. He woke up at 5 a.m., went into Manhattan, always sat on the train going into Manhattan. It was just in my DNA to work.
Okay.
And I have 2 little boys now, 5 and 6, and I may not be like the rah-rah cheerleader or the rah-rah coach, but you better believe they see Daddy every single morning up at 4 a.m. They see Daddy every single 7 days a week. Dad puts a suit on and works. Yeah. So I'm hoping that I'm instilling with them the same work ethic that my mother and father taught me. So Causeway, I can't believe you know Causeway Deli.
Yeah, man.
So I was probably in 7th or 8th grade. I got a job at Causeway Deli. I remember getting the job. I saw a help wanted sign in the front of it. Yeah. So I walked in there and, I remember I had a white T-shirt on and a pair of lacrosse shorts. I said, I'm here to apply for the job. Some guy behind the counter says, well, the owner's in the basement. So I remember walking all the way down to the basement, and the owner's down there. I sit in the seat. He's like, what job are you applying for? I said, deli clerk. Mm-hmm. Now, mind this, handsome, I've never worked at a deli in my life before. Yeah. But my brother used to work at a deli. Okay. So I kind of knew the lingo. I knew the slicing machine and the boar's head. So his name was Dennis. And
I was going to ask you if that was him.
Old guy, too, like us, handsome. Yep. And he says, great, what do you want to do? I said, well, I'm a deli clerk. He says, all right, fabulous. Have you been doing this before? I said, absolutely. What do you want to make? And my brother, I knew, was making like $8 an hour. So I was like, $10 an hour. He's like, you're hired. So I'm like, holy macaroni, I just got a job, $2 more than my older brother, and you start the next week. So I ended up learning the whole deli business, but I used to work the morning shift. So the 5 a.m. shift, because I like all my friends were still sleeping. I like to put a full 8 hours in. By 2 o'clock, they were going to the beach, and I was already done with a full day of work. Mm-hmm. So it was a normal morning shift on a cold Wednesday, I believe in February or March. We were probably off on some break, and I get the fry. I got the grill going. I got eggs all on the grill. I got the side of bacon on the side, sizzling. A few people are coming in. I got the coffee making, and the phone rings. And I say, Causeway Deli. And this woman says, I'm looking for Causeway Catering. And I say to the woman, I'm sorry, miss, this is Causeway Deli. She's like, no, I'm looking for Causeway Catering. I said, hold on 1 second. I put her on hold. I picked the phone back up. I said, hi, this is Seth from Causeway Catering. How can I help you?
Shut up.
And she's like, well, I'm looking to have a party. I said, fabulous. What kind of party? Well, I need a bartender. Great. What's the date? She gives me the date. I write it down. And I said, and what are you looking to spend? She said, I'm looking to spend about $150. I said, fabulous. What's the date? I take the date. What's the time? Perfect. I said, I'm going to have one of my guys there. I hang up the phone. The next day, I call my buddy Sean. And I say, Sean, how would you like to be a bartender? He says, awesome. He's like, how much money? I said, $100. Mm-hmm. He says, fabulous. So I sent my buddy Sean there for $100. He picked up $150 and gave me $50. And that was the first time I really learned leverage. Yeah. And that's when I look back on my life, that's how I know that I'm a born bred entrepreneur. And that so that's kind of how it all got started. Wow, that's
crazy. I must have seen you in there. There's no question.
There's no way you did.
There's no question in mind, right?
And I took it because I always like to eat. So it was a cheap way.
It's an added bonus. Those of you, we'll post a picture for the ladies later, and we're going to get into this point in a minute. So Bryan and I guess we could sort of be brothers, only he's like 6 inches taller and substantially more jacked than I am, which brings me to my next question of 3:45 in the morning you get up and go to the gym?
3:45 in the morning.
Every day.
Every day. It's just it's just clockwork. It's repetition, and it's a lot of the football background where it's...
Did you used to get up at... Your entire life, basically, from the time you were working out, 16, 17, you've gotten up that early? And
no, it's just progressively gotten earlier and earlier and earlier because I'm trying to capture more time in the day. That's really what it is. I'm just trying to add more hours. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, right? So how do we spend those hours? I got to make sure they're super productive. Yeah. And the earlier I get up, I get a jump on everybody. Is there really, how many other real estate agents, real estate brokers, cash buyers, investors that are waking up at 3:45 in the morning?
They're not.
So I'm getting the jump on everybody. I need every second of the day to be as productive as possible. I need every second of the day.
But so you're up at 3:45, straight to the gym.
No, gyms don't even open up till 5 a.m.
Okay.
So up at 3:45, I'm in my office. In my office. I got a little office in the house. Got my cup of coffee, black coffee. Don't mix sugar, nothing in there. I used to have a mug that my mom bought me that said "Future Millionaire." Okay. That I used to drink out every single day. It broke, which could be symbols of something. And now I have a Hustler mug. Same mug every single morning. What you'll notice about me once we start to become better friends is that if the mafia wanted to kill Bryan Karp, it'd be very easy. I am so routine. The only thing they didn't know that I was going to come to the Handsome podcast, but literally I work out Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays. Doesn't matter, rain, shine, sickness, death. Bryan Karp is working out those days.
Do you have to get off a little topic, do you have a very strict diet?
Very strict diet.
Yeah. Do you are you into intermittent fasting?
Yeah, I'm huge into it.
As soon as you said black coffee, I'm like, this dude's all about intermittent fasting.
I'm always, listen, my body's a chemistry set.
Okay.
I look at myself as a pro athlete.
Okay.
In real estate. So I need to be at peak performance on everything. Yeah. If I'm going to perform the way I'm performing, I got to be in peak shape for everything. So I've been intermittent fasting for about a year now, which I love. I just need a different challenge.
Okay.
So to me, I like to I like to put myself in a position of challenging it. Yeah. So to me, fasting was a challenge.
Interesting. No, I've tried every kind of I've tried that recently. I tried to be a vegan, which lasted for 19 days. Yeah. That didn't work. I think mostly because unless you're preparing your food and I don't have time to do anything. So unless you're shopping and preparing your food, you don't have time to do that. If you're in Manhattan, every corner has a vegan spot. Right. Here you can't, so that didn't work.
But Hanson, we're preparing it. It's just being prepared for the day. Yeah. So if you don't have time to do the food, then let's get up an extra half an hour early and prepare the food, or let's hire someone to prepare the food.
Now I feel like I'm lazy.
No, that's not lazy. I just want you to be at peak performance, and I feel like your diet and your health is a big piece of it.
No, you have to.
The gym. And I put this out on Instagram a few weeks ago. The gym is not a physical activity. Yeah. The gym is a mental activity. Yes. Everything we do is mental. Yes. So I got to have my mental game right. And that's why the gym is a big piece of it, because I feel good, I feel healthy, I feel good about myself after I get my workout in.
No, and that brings me to a point. This is kind of like every time I do a podcast, every person brings a bunch of things to the table, but there's one specific thing that I feel like they accelerate at that I really want to drive home for people. For you, in my opinion, it's the competitive mindset. So the mindset, people even before I was talking to a realtor friend of mine, Randy, and I'm like, oh, he sold 141 houses. He looked at me like, what are you talking about? How do you do that? I'm like, everybody that's that successful has this kind of certain mindset, the way they see the world, which is uniquely different than 99.9% of the people there. And the game that you're playing, we were talking before, you're kind of always playing with yourself. I'm always playing with myself. It's not about anybody else. It's about how can I push myself to the next level.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So, kind of give me your take on just the competitive mindset in general, because it sounded like you were born with it, basically.
I was born with it, and athletics was a way for me to put it out there. Okay. So once the window shut, and I could no longer do athletics anymore.
You have to channel that into something else.
I have to channel it positive. Yes. I got to channel it to something positive.
Yes.
Listen, if all of this energy and craziness isn't put into a positive and manifest into a positive thing, I'd be all over the place. I'm over the top with everything I do. So thank God that I'm putting it towards a positive thing, because if I didn't, I would be in a lot of trouble.
I'm exactly the same way. I don't drink. I've never been drunk. Mm-hmm. I've never done any drugs. Don't smoke nothing. And people are always like, well, the first thing they say to me when they find out that I don't drink, they're like, oh, I'm really sorry. Are you recovering? Yeah. I'm like, why do I have to be recovering? And then I'm like, listen, this is really, I tell them the story I told you before about the Ritalin. And that impacted me so much that I never wanted to put anything in my body that was foreign. But I'm like, I have an addictive personality. Yeah. I recognize that. So if I didn't put that into the gym or work or something positive, I would self-destruct.
See, I think what it was, and it goes back to the football, and you're a great host to pick it up, is that I'm very coachable. So I came into high school as an average athlete, a little chubby, and then freshman year, because where we grew up, Handsome, it's 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Yeah. So freshman year for football, they had summer weightlifting. So, and I just sold my coach's house, which was like a great, come full circle. He hired me to sell his house, which was great. Thanks, coach. So basically, summer weightlifting was Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Okay. And I went to the first one, and I was a freshman, and I was skinny. I was there with all the seniors. These guys are jacked up. And the coach said, everyone, you got to come weightlifting Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then we're running Tuesday, Thursday. So Bryan Karp just took it that 5 days a week I had a job. I had to be there. So that first summer, I didn't miss one weightlifting. I didn't miss one running. And they kept these little stickers on the board. They were like helmets, like pirates, because we were the Metten Pirates. By the end of it, I was like double every single senior, every single other player. But I didn't think anything was weird by it. I just thought that, I didn't hear that you can come when you want to come. I just heard you have to be there.
Yeah.
And then, long story short, with that is they moved me up as a freshman to varsity, and I was playing as a freshman, getting my ass handed to me. But they moved me up. He never even saw me step on the football field. He just saw my work ethic. Yeah. I guess the analogy I could say is, and it's good there isn't two treadmills out here, because if me and you went on a treadmill together, I will die before I get off that treadmill.
You stole that from Will Smith, because I stole it from Will Smith.
I stole it from him all day. But it was the best analogy.
Amazing thing.
So I always say that with any other real estate agent, and when other people are trying to hire me, I said, there's no one who's going to outwork me. I listen, I go right into tell people, I can't tell you what your house is going to sell for. I might have sold the most houses in Suffolk County and maybe Long Island. I can't tell you what it's going to sell for. I can tell you I'm the best marketer, I'm the best salesman, I'm the hardest worker, I'm the most honest person you'll ever meet. I said, and that's all I can guarantee you. But my work ethic, and I said, 100% stole from him. But I love that line.
People always ask me, for you who don't know, I'll touch on it really quickly. So Will Smith has I watch all these YouTube inspirational videos, and I assume you do the same. We talked about it before. So Will Smith has this video where, listen, Will, you're like a triple threat. You do this, you do that. You've made hundreds of millions of dollars, whatever it is. What is it about you? And he's like, listen, if I'm honest with myself, there's nothing uniquely special or different about me. He's like, the difference is I'm not afraid to die on a treadmill. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, it's very simple. If you and I get on a treadmill together, either you're going to get off first or I'm going to die. Mm-hmm. And it's that simple. And I say that in most of my talks when I teach continuing ed, because that's what it is. Like, you and I are not, we're not special, particularly gifted. We're not reinventing the wheel. People have been selling real estate, flipping houses forever. Yeah. The difference is, we work 7 days a week. When people are sleeping, we're working. You're up at 3:45 working when everybody else is sleeping, myself included. I can't do the 3:45.
That was fine. It's just the way my schedule works. It works for me.
No, I give you a tremendous amount of credit.
Progressively earlier and earlier and earlier.
I want to be that guy. Mm-hmm. I want to be that guy. But I guess I end up shifting it. I go to sleep at 1 a.m. I wake up at 6. But it's just
what I learned when I was
a lot of discipline.
What I learned when I was younger is that that I would never be happy with hitting the snooze button. So my goal is no alarm clock needed. I want to get up before the alarm clock.
What is I'm always interested to know about what is your why? What is the underlying thing that lights the fire that drives you to do this stuff? Because you're an intense dude.
Thank you. I appreciate that. No, it's so simple, and I think that's why I've been so successful in real estate. And my why is out there. I'm never hiding my why. My why is to build generational wealth for me and my family through rental real estate. Okay. 100%. That's out there.
Is there a specific reason why? Is it things that you saw? Is it the way that you grew up? I'm in the same boat with you, and sometimes I try to even dissect my own, why I do the same thing. I'm always curious to know, do you know kind of why you want to do that?
I think where it came from was when I graduated from Stony Brook, I found out that I was sick and I had cancer. So my senior year, I missed my last game because I had cancer. Wow. So I'll tell you the story really quick, and then I think we'll get you to my why. Okay. But basically, I was a senior. It was one of the last football games, and I said to the trainer, I said, I have pain in my groin. And she says, Bryan, go hit the ice bath. So I hit the ice bath for 2 or 3 days, and I say to her, I said, Kathy, I still have pain in my groin. She's like, all right, go up to the hospital. So I go up to the hospital. Really, really scary. I was 18 years old, and this is before we really had cell phones. We might have flip phones. So I was with my beautiful wife, Jessica, at that time, but we were just boyfriend and girlfriend. So I called her. I said, I'm going to go up to the hospital. And then I was at the hospital probably for 8 hours. Okay. They had me, I'm in an emergency room. They're doing all these scans. You know something's wrong when the doctor leaves, comes back and brings another doctor. That doctor leaves, comes back and brings another doctor. And I'm this guy who's 275 pounds, all-American football player, thinks my things don't, smell. I head was as big as the room. And I started, hey, who's helping me in here? I walked down the hallway. It was maybe 40 minutes, but it felt like 3 hours where they kept coming in, coming out. And to me, I always had the mindset that nothing will ever go wrong for me. Like I'm just perfect.
Interesting.
And we could dissect that at another date and time. So I go in and out of the room. They finally put me in this side room, and a doctor came in and he said, "Listen, I'm sorry to tell you, but you have a tumor." He's like, "You have a tumor." I had testicular cancer.
Wow.
So before
at 18?
At 18.
Wow.
Maybe it was more like 20, right? My senior year.
Okay.
So 20, somewhere in that 19, 20 range. So.
Wow. What goes through your mind at that moment?
Goes through my mind is, this is like, to me, it was like I broke my leg. I was like, oh, this is a pain in the ass. So I said, what's next? They're like, well, 24 hours, I'm on a table getting sliced open. They're removing the tumor.
Wow.
So me, I guess it was naive and maybe stupidity, but I was like, this is just an annoyance.
Like, let's get this done.
Let's get this done so I can move on with my life, because I'm always like, what's next? So long story short, they bring me into Manhattan, Memorial Sloan Kettering, chop me, remove the tumor. Brian, we think it spread into your stomach.
What?
So now I'm doing 4 rounds of chemo.
What?
Yeah, 4 rounds of chemo, which really literally put me at like The Walking Dead. I would love to see a picture of the end of the 4th round of chemo.
What stage was the cancer?
It was a good stage. If you're going to get a cancer, you want testicular cancer. It's one of the best cancers to get.
What
But it was one of the beginning stages. Because I was so young, they're like, let's go aggressive with this. And thank God I've been totally cancer-free for over 15 years now.
Wow.
Which is unbelievable. So before I knew it, they're throwing me through this. I'm spinning around in circles. They removed it. I just spun around the circle. If there was a video in here. We should have this on YouTube. And before I knew it, they had me walking through, and then I did 4 rounds of chemo, which if anyone who's done chemo before, literally it's like Walking Dead. They pump you with all these chemicals and stuff like that. And I used to do a 2-week cycle. So I would have 1 week of chemo and 1 week off. And I would almost feel dirty by the end of the first week. By that Friday, I remember taking a lot of showers because I felt like yucky inside, because the chemo like rips you.
It's like basically poison, essentially.
Poison. It's poison. And then by the next Monday, I'd be like ripping myself out of bed into the gym just because I needed to get back working out. So
how long were the treatments for?
Treatments, I did 4 rounds of chemo, a week on, 2 weeks off, a week on, 2 weeks off.
Oh man!
So we did that, and I didn't miss college. I didn't drop out of college. I finished college.
Wow!
Like, nothing stops. Like, just because there's outside things going on, I can't let the laser focus stop. I can't slow down.
Did it ever again goes back to the mindset? Like, were you ever negative at any point? Like, the average person's gonna be like, "Holy shit, I'm gonna die. I might die. Woe is me." Boom, boom, boom. Did that ever enter into your mind? It was just like, this is something I have to get through to get to the next stage. Let's just do it.
Mindset. I'm the most positive person. I wake up every single morning before I even take the covers out of the bed. I smile. My eyes are closed for anyone who's watching this, but that's what I do before I even come out of bed handsome. I smile, I turn over, and I literally
it's the start of the day, yeah.
Literally, I have the best
tone.
life in the whole world. I really do. There's not a single person who has a better life than me. I couldn't be more blessed. So, to come full circle with it, I finish up chemo, everything's fine, but I couldn't work at that time. Okay. Just getting chemo and going to school and trying to juggle all that was enough for me. And I remember I had to borrow $300 from my parents to take my wife out to dinner. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I never want to have to rely on someone for money.
Wow.
So that, and I was like, how do I build money coming in where I don't have to always work?
That was the moment?
Just in case maybe I'm sick again, or just in case.
Wow.
So I think that was one of the reasons why I kind of got obsessed with how do I start building passive income.
Wow. So you're an active investor, right?
I'm an active. I don't flip houses. All I do is I do buy rentals.
Yeah. And I think this is a super important point because I teach a class. I don't know if anyone out there has ever been to it. A bunch of people I know have, real estate investing for realtors, where I always tell people, realtors come to me all the time. I'm blessed to know thousands of realtors, and they're like, I want to invest in real estate. And I think they should. I think real estate's the best vehicle out there, my personal opinion.
They're crazy if they don't.
I mean, you have all the resources, you have the knowledge, you're in it all day, every day. But to flip houses as a realtor, if you sell 50 houses a year and you want to flip houses as a realtor, you're going to sell 20.
Yep.
So yeah, you might make some money on that flip, but you're going to lose overall.
Absolutely.
Because you're going to be picking out tile at Home Depot while you're supposed to be going on listing appointments or this
dealing
or that.
with contractors.
Exactly, which is a nightmare in itself.
And just to speak about your business, Handsome, your business is risky. Me selling 150 houses a year, besides maybe having a mental breakdown and exploding and heart ripping out of my chest, it's not as risky as that. You have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions on the street at any given time.
And it's not mine. Most of it's
not
not mine.
Yeah, he's borrowing it from everybody. So, and if the market shifts,
Yeah.
I just have to speak to my homeowners and keep them up to date. Market shifts, guys. We have to lower our prices.
Yeah.
But market shifts for you, you might have just lost $300,000.
It's a lot of pressure. It's not for the faint of heart.
So have you heard of this? I'm sure you have. You've heard of Roger Bannister?
No.
Okay. And I hope I don't butcher his name. I'm dyslexic, so it's so hard for me to keep names in my head. But Roger Bannister was the first person to break the 4-minute mile.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
For years and years, they said that the human could not run a 4-minute mile. They said literally his heart would rip out of his chest. And I always think about that because, you were asking me offline, Bryan, you did 141 houses in 2017. 2018, we're at 130 something right now. We'll probably be somewhere in that range. How do you do it? How do you do over 100 houses a year?
I think everybody wants to know.
Well, they want to know, but I'm the model. I've broken it, so I'm the Roger Bannister. Not in as good shape as him, but I'm the Roger Bannister. Bryan Karp did it, and it can be done. You could sell over 100 houses a year. There's nothing special about me. Once Roger did it,
tons of people did it.
Yes. Because in their mindset, Handsome, they thought they couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's limiting belief.
I just said, oh no, I'm going to do it. There's no reason I can't do 100. And then before I know, the 100 hit 120, 130, 140, maybe even 150.
So, I mean, I guess that, again, like, people want to know, outside of obviously, the intense work, how do you do it? How do you do it?
I'm a salesman. So Bryan Karp has never spent $1 on advertising himself through like a channel. Everything is being sold to these realtors. It's terrible. I feel like so many businesses are preying on my people and selling them stuff. Okay. Zillow is trying to sell them ads. Realtor.com is trying to sell them ads. Guys, if I get in a car accident and I die after here, it's Zillow killing me because I'm giving you the inside information. I don't spend any money on penny saver ads or farming a neighborhood. Okay. All I do is I prospect.
Okay.
So prospecting, and I've been doing it for 10 years, and now that I'm blessed and have such a great business, I can't prospect as much. But when I started this business, I got my real estate license, Handsome. Okay. I drove a block away from my house. I parked my car.
Okay.
I got out of the car, and I knocked every house on that block. And I did that for 3 days straight. And I said, hi, I'm Bryan Karp. I just got my real estate license. Do you know anyone who wants to sell a house? And I got my first listing from that. And I've continued to do things like that for the last 10 years straight.
So, but you have, so there's a couple things I want to go with there. A, do you remember the feeling of going to that first house? Because I think a lot of people would say, like, they have social anxiety. To go up to somebody's house and knock on a door is almost painful.
Absolutely.
For I would say 99% of people.
So what it was is I had a deal where there's these things in real estate called expireds.
Yeah.
I think this is an amazing podcast because we're similar businesses, same language. So you understand my language, I understand your language. Even though we don't play in each other's space, it's easy to speak to you and you're able to pull out all the positive stuff. But back in the day when the market wasn't great, there was these things called expireds. They've all gone away because the market's changed. Mm-hmm. But I went to someone's door in St. James many years ago, and I knocked, and I said, hi, I noticed your house came off the market. Are you thinking about reselling it? Long story short, she ended up giving Bryan Karp a try. At that time, Bryan sold maybe 5 or 6 homes. Okay. So she really had to go all in on me. I ended up selling her $500,000 house.
Nice.
The people who bought it hired me to sell their house in Northport.
Nice.
So that transaction was very profitable for me. So every time after that, and that was probably year 2 or 3, every time that I felt that awkwardness, like maybe I shouldn't go to that door. I would think about that money. I would think about that money. And I said, wait, are you telling me that you're going to let $20,000 stop you from going to that door? The next door could be $20,000.
Yeah.
And then it's just been amazing because now I honestly believe, and I hope my clients believe this, that I am the best for them. Nobody knows the market better than me. Nobody is a better marketer than me. So I'm here to help them. So I think that's why I've never had that problem. And once that my mindset's shifted on that, that I'm here to help, and the next door could change my life.
No, it makes sense. And you're helping these people because you are the best. You believe you're the best. No one's going to do a better job than you. I think you said you're a salesperson. I'm a salesperson as well. I was trained by a classically trained sales guy. I was trained by Tommy Hopkins and Zig Ziglar. Mm-hmm. Sold Electrolux vacuum cleaners in the 70s door to door. And you hear, first I fought it. I'm like, I don't want to be a salesman because it has a negative connotation. But it really isn't. right? If you really believe in what you're doing a good thing for people, and you're the best at what you do, you're helping thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you have to even help them get out of their own way because you know what's best for them because this is what you do all day, every day.
Absolutely. And I am a salesman, and I will say it first, and I think some of the most successful people in the world are salesmen. I'm trying to teach my kids at a young age that there's nothing wrong with being a salesman. You could be making more than doctors, lawyers, all combined. And you'll always be able to feed your family handsome if you know how to sell.
Do you get to the point where, do you feel uncomfortable? I'm sure you feel uncomfortable because everybody does. It's just human nature. It's how you're hardwired. But do you get to the point where you're in that moment and you're like, now I have to do this because I feel uncomfortable, because you want to constantly test and push yourself?
I don't feel uncomfortable going to the door. I don't feel uncomfortable picking up the phone and speaking to someone I never spoke anymore.
You never
I did in the beginning.
Okay.
I did, but now I've built up.
Yeah, callous.
Callous. We really need video cameras in here. We should be live on this.
I got to develop this place.
Absolutely. We're missing opportunities.
No, that's interesting because I get to the point where I feel like you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right. And then when I get to the point where I feel uncomfortable, I'm like, oh, this is fresh because I'm in the same boat as you. I'm 39 years old. We've been through this stuff. It just, asking the tough questions of buyers or sellers that a lot of people won't will do it. When I get to that point where I feel uncomfortable with something, I'm like, oh, this is like, I haven't felt this in a while. Now I have to do it.
Yeah.
Because in that moment, that's how you grow and become a better person.
Absolutely. 100%. I'm trying to be the best Bryan Karp every single day.
So, and the thing that's cool about you is like, you're very humble and you're a student of the game. Mm-hmm. Like you're always learning. You're always, trying to get better at who you are.
Yeah.
Right. Which I think a lot of people reach a certain level of success and then they're content. No. I think that's when you basically die. Like you're either growing or you're dying.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Either we're moving forward or we're moving backwards.
What is kind of your take on? So you started out very grassroots, like a door to door kind of like door knocking kind of thing, and then now obviously social media is the rage. Mm-hmm. I mean, I see you do a lot of social media stuff. What's your take on kind of meshing the two together? Do you go more one than the other? Just your overall kind of marketing.
So from the beginning, I've been very much brand. Everything's about the brand. Bryan Karp is the brand. So Bryan Karp isn't this over the top like big head guy, but marketing, Bryan Karp is the brand. So my face is on everything. My face is on my car. My face is on my truck. Every one of my signs are biggest, my face everywhere. I even have signs over my signs. Like, I'm a marketer, and that's really what I am.
There's no separation between Bryan Karp, the powerhouse agent, and Bryan Karp, the dad.
No, that's it. Bryan Karp
husband.
Bryan Karp is coaching his kids flag football. They see my face handsome.
24/7.
They see my face handsome, and they're like, "Oh, that's Bryan Karp, the realtor." Someone says, "Bryan, we're thinking of selling next year." Boom. Great, I'm here. I love you. Whatever you need, I'm there.
Yeah.
So there's no other cars in my driveway except my wrapped cars. So anywhere I'm going, I'm all in on this.
And I think that kind of relates. You hit on an interesting point where people are like, where does he get the listings from? And I think what you just said is perfect. Like, they come from everywhere. Everywhere. Like, if everybody out there knows what you're doing and trying to accomplish, and then you're trying to find out from them what they are going to accomplish so you can help them selflessly, I think it just builds this crazy momentum.
Absolutely. It's a snowball going down a mountain. But I've been very big, and we spoke about this offline a little bit. I'm playing the long game. Yeah. So everything I'm doing, I'm 5 years ago, I was planning what I'm doing now. Yeah. So every move, every decision me and Jessica make, business-wise, rental portfolio-wise, was for the long game. So there was no quick cash. Yeah. If it wasn't the right thing to do, we said no. We always wanted to do the right thing. And to me, I'm building a brand around myself. And one day, if I decide to step away from real estate, and I kind of see this in your business, I could run a different business through my machine. Yeah. So I already have the Bryan Karp machine. We're a media company. That's what we're doing. We're putting out content multiple times a week. Yeah. Real estate content, Bryan Karp brand content. And then if we decide one day to open up an insurance agency, they'll know it. Oh, Bryan's behind it. It's got to be one of the best, most aggressive, high-octane, high-protein, super aggressive insurance agencies. We run it through the machine. Yeah. And then there's all these amazing people who love us already to help. So to me, it was always building the brand, the machine.
I think people have to understand that every business is basically the same. So once you understand the methodology behind what business structure is and how to run a business, it doesn't matter what it is. Selling real estate, flipping houses, widgets, insurance, whatever. You just replicate it over and over and over again. A big thing I want to talk about you, which we touched on offline, is you selling 141 houses. Time management. Yeah. This is something that I think everyone struggles with. I struggle with myself. Being ADHD to the max, I have a very hard time focusing on things. That's my struggle. And I always have to reel myself in. But to do the kind of volume that you do, or other agents want to do, like every second has to count.
100%. This podcast worked because it was a Friday heading into Christmas. I was able to block out an hour and a half to 2 hours to chat with you. We'll probably go way over what I blocked for this, and the rest of my day will need to be moved. But I'm not walking into a day and it wasn't planned already. Yeah. Like, that's what you have to understand. My Monday morning is already, everything is planned.
The night before, or
days ahead of time. Do
you have staff that helps you with that?
I do. Yeah, don't think Bryan Karp is slinging 150 houses on his own. I have amazing admin. I have amazing staff behind the scenes to make everything, because I'm not I'll tell you what I'm the best at: selling houses and knowing the market and marketing, but I'm not the best writer. I am not the best at a lot of things. So communicator, a lot of my, if you ever get an email or text message from me, just know that I've used Siri. I've never I've never written an email in my life. So if I'm writing an important email, it's being dictated to one of my staff. So to me, I have amazing people behind me that allow me to run this business.
So let's talk about scaling. And I think this is, I have struggled with it. I struggle with it every day. I'm sure you have, probably continue. When you get to a certain point, you realize there's only 24 hours in a day. You have to scale, you need to hire, right? And it's like, what's the right time to hire? Who do you hire? How many people do you hire? Do you continue to hire? There's no rule book for this kind of stuff.
You have to just do it. Your first hire is the best thing you could ever do. Okay. As a real estate agent, broker, we have to be using our time wisely. And our time is bringing you more business. Yes. That's what you need to be doing. You have to look at this as a business. Yeah. As a business. So to me, if I can bring in non-licensed people to do other stuff that isn't as dollar productive as me bringing in new clients or helping marketing the houses I have on the market or putting deals together, that's the way to do it. So first hire, I have two full-time admin. I even have someone who works for me just to do errands, drop off the dry cleaning, put up the blow-ups in front of my house. It's not that I don't want to do it. I want to be super amazing in my family life.
It's not the highest and best use of your time.
I want to be super amazing in my real estate life. Yeah. So to me, anything I could delegate will free up more time. I delegated a lot. Right now, this meeting with us is costing me money because I have staff doing this, things that I could have been doing, but I felt like this was better for me and you to meet.
No, absolutely, and I appreciate that. I think people's big disconnect is like, how do you know when the right time to hire is? Right? For you personally, and everyone's different, how did you know, okay, I got to bring on the first person? Then you're like, I need a second person.
If you're doing 10 houses a year, you should be bringing someone on. You should not be doing any of the admin work. Yeah. You need to be spending that time bringing more business in. However you feel is necessary to bring that business in. I feel handsome. If you miss a gym workout, I know you box, I know you're into MMA. If you miss that, you're upset with yourself. You feel depressed. Yeah. If I don't prospect, I feel that way.
Are you still, when you say prospect, are you still going door to door? Are you still knocking on doors?
I don't have as much time as I used to.
Or is it more of like a social media based?
No, I'm still trying to do that as much time as I have. I love that. Like, I love panning for gold. Yeah. I love panning for gold. That's really what it is. I love it. I wish I had more time to do it. And I feel naked if I'm not doing it. So if I have a free hour in my day that isn't blocked, I said, great, let me follow up with some for sale by owners in the neighborhood. Let me follow up with some cancels in the neighborhood. Huh. One of my favorite things to do is it gets dark now around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and they don't want to see bald Bryan Karp coming to your door in a full suit. So what I'll do is if I sell a house, there's a program, I'm going to tell everyone this, it's a program called Mojo. Okay? It's a dialing system. It allows you to put a pin on the house you just sold and draw a circle straight around it. And it scoops up all the phone numbers. Okay?
Really?
Then what it does is the computer dials 3 lines at one time until somebody picks up. It's one of my favorite things to do. Okay. And I just call the neighbors and just say, hi, I'm Bryan Karp with Remax. I just sold your neighbor's house. Are you thinking of selling? It's like one of my favorite things to do.
Wow. And for a lot of people, again, that would be emotionally painful for them because they're afraid of someone rejecting them or not wanting to talk to them.
And it happens. And 10 years ago, Handsome, it was very hard to do a lot of that stuff because they would slam the doors. They didn't know who I was. Now I'm so blessed. I call someone, hey, Bryan, we see your signs everywhere. We're not selling for another year or two, but we'll call you.
And I bet they will.
Yeah, and which is great. And then I love when it's spring and summer and I have like 2 hours, I throw my boat shoes on and my summer suit on, and I'll just knock all the doors in the neighborhood and introduce myself to people. Hey, Bryan, we're thinking in 2 years. Oh, you sold my aunt's house. Like, it's the most unbelievable thing. But it's the name, face recognition that I was able to build with the brand.
And and you're planting the seed today for the deal that's going to happen in 2 years from now.
We're playing years out.
I want to talk about two quick things that realtors kind of need to know that I think will blow everybody's mind. I guess kind of two things together and then one separate. You have a certain mindset about scarcity mentality versus abundance, and you work in a certain area. And if you are not the best person for that particular asset class, price point, demographic, you'll refer it out. It could be a $40,000 commission. You're sending it to somebody else. Absolutely. Because you feel you're not the best person in that market, and you know you have so much coming in that you have no problem with that.
Yeah, so I live in an abundance mindset. I live in such an abundance mindset that I literally think it's raining money out there. It's raining money for anyone in the real estate business.
It is.
We live in the best country, the best world. Like, it's so unbelievable. The best time. The power of this phone is incredible. Don't tell me how many text messages were there. All right? I'll get nauseous. I just picked my phone up and handsome saw it. But we live in such an abundance mindset. So I don't feel that, like, if another agent gets a listing in my neighborhood or in Suffolk County, I don't feel that they're taking it away from me. There's so much out there. Yeah. You have to live in that and just know that the phone's always going to ring. There's always going to be someone else who needs your help. And this year, I've referred away probably almost $10 million worth of business. Yeah. It's because it was stuff that I wasn't the guru in. You know, I'm the best in a certain class. I don't do commercial real estate. I refer it away. But a lot of times people are like, Bryan, we know you, we love you, we trust you. Can you vet and find us the best broker for that? And I do all the time. Nice. So I just referred something away in Queens. And I do some Queens. I sold a $1.5 million two-family because literally they had cash buyers lined up for it. And they called me in just to make sure the deal went right.
Wow.
And once I put it on the market, I ended up putting $200,000 more in their pocket.
Wow.
Like, if I can't bring value, you don't need me. Yeah. Like, if I speak to a for sale by owner or I speak to someone else, if I don't think that after my commission I can still net you more money or get you safely through this transaction, there's no need for me. Yeah. They brought me in because someone that I do a ton of business with said, you really need Bryan on your side. Like, I'm like the lawyer. I'm like the person you want to structure the deal. They wanted me to vet the buyer, and when it was all said and done, even after the commission, they put an extra few $100,000 in their pocket.
No, that's
crazy.
I'm curious to know. Take everybody through a day in the life of Bryan Karp. Like, what you're up at 3:45, and what? So
happens? Mondays my busiest days. Mondays are my busiest days because we're recovering from the weekend. That was all of these showings that happened over the weekend. Yeah. But Monday,
you're 7 days a week, basically.
7 days a week, absolutely. I try to. Me and my wife are always good. I'm very scheduled, like back to the mafia. It used to be Tuesday and Thursday nights. I would book out late. So if you want to meet with me, handsome, 5, 7, 9 o'clock at night, it's either Tuesday and Thursday nights. Now it's kind of moved in where it's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. I'm trying to be the best father and husband, but this business is just pulling me. You know, it just pulls you at everything. And my family, I have the best wife in the world because she allows me to do this, and she sees the vision of what it is. But the normal day is up 3:45, 4 o'clock in the morning. It's office work for 2 hours, like preparing the day, preparing my staff, preparing all my appointments that I'm going on. Like, it's not 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning, and I think what I'm going to do for the day. Like, the day's already planned. Yeah. And then it's going on listing appointments, negotiating offers, making sure that the marketing is right, and coming up with different inventive plans to market homes.
Jesus. Yeah, I think, and again, that's something I've struggled with, but I think if you're going to get to a certain point, it has to be planned. Like, otherwise the day just slips by. I'm sure people have sat there like, I want to be productive today. They don't write it down. They don't plan it. All of a sudden it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They haven't gotten anything done. Yeah,
it's time to go home. Or this pops up in the day. Like, anything that's popping up during the day is not, unless it's a fire that needs to be put out, we're staying on task.
Huh. So I'm kind of curious to know what's, like you always say, I'm planning today for 3 years from now, for 5 years from now, right? We talked about before how what you and I do on this level is, it's a burnout job. Like, it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable to buy 100 houses a year. It's not sustainable to sell 150, 200 houses a year. Where does Bryan Karp go 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now?
Sure.
Because everyone doesn't know he's 35. You're a very young guy.
Thank you.
So there's a lot of life there, and there's a lot of energy, and you're always going to have to channel it to something. I know you're like, I just want to have rentals and retire. I don't think you'll ever retire.
I kind of agree with you.
Personally.
But I don't plan to be selling 150 houses a year.
Yeah.
I think the vision, and I'm a huge vision person. I'm a huge person of putting it out there. Like, literally, I've not this podcast, but I literally pictured to be sitting here, not here, but in the suit, selling 100 houses a year, building this rental portfolio, this amazing family, this amazing wife. Like, I pictured this 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So I picture myself being on the football field, coaching Brody and Brock's high school football team, helping out with it, or some of their sports, and a father walk up to me and says, "Do you work? Do you have a job? Like, you're here all the time. Like, how do you do this?" And I'll turn to him and say, "I used to work." Like, that's my goal, is to be able to really put more time and love into my family once I finish this. But I have to finish this. And Handsome, I'm there. I can taste it.
I think I will close it out on this because I know Brian's a very busy guy, but I think what that message from that is this. You essentially have to be willing to sacrifice who you are today for who you'll become in the future.
Absolutely.
And for you to break your ass for a 10-year period, yeah, do you want to be around for the kids more? Yes. But in order for you to do that, there has to be a sacrifice for a certain period of time. So if you sacrifice for 10 years, you have the next 50 to 60 years.
Yeah. And we're doing it now for tomorrow. That's what we're doing. My wife always says tomorrow isn't guaranteed, but I'm playing for tomorrow. And we're loving it. Like, this is my addiction. Real estate is literally going through my blood.
Like, you're having a good time. You wake up every day, smile, excited to go out and help people sell their houses and help people buy houses.
Football helmets, shoulder pads on, time to play again.
Ready to go. And we're playing for the Olympics.
Yeah, we're not playing
We're going for the gold.
We're going for the gold.
That's it.
There's no second place trophies. And I'll leave you with this. I try to put my kids to bed as many nights as possible. When they were little, I used to tell them three things before I tuck them in at night. And now they can almost repeat them. Like, it's almost like Pavlov's dogs.
Yeah.
Like, they almost repeat them. So I ask them three questions. What do we never do? And they say right away, never give up. How do we make money? They say hard work. And the other one is, what do we do when we fall down? And they say, get right back up. Now, at 5 and 6, they're now starting to understand what they mean. But I was teaching them that at 2 and 3, where it was just Pavlov. You know, it was just like, I said it to them, they repeated it back. I said it to them, they repeated it back. So I think it's the warrior mindset that we're trying to do here.
I couldn't have said it better myself. How do people, if you're looking to sell a house, how do they get in touch with you?
Sure. So cell phone, Bryan Karp. Instagram is Bryan Karp LI. Cell phone is 516-384-0571. Email is brian@soldbybrian.com, and Brian is with a Y.
Perfect. Again, I'm Charles, the handsome home buyer. Once again, you have a house that smells like cat pee. You know I want it. If you have commercial property, if you have land for development, if you have anything real estate related that you want to sell, I'm the guy. 516-777-SOLD. If you have a permit problem, think you might have a permit problem, or know somebody that has a permit problem, Captain Permit. Call the captain, 516-513-8838. Thank you, guys. We're out.